Well, all right. Welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Berlino here in the world famous As It Should Be Studios. And, well, I'm a little late getting on this train, but this, at last, is my 2024 vinyl tag video, right? I probably should have done this last week and when everyone else was doing it, but, you know, late to the party as always. But this is 20 questions put up by Rob Walker from Let the Music Play. He did the vinyl tag last year, and he did it this year. And I think there's only two. I don't know. The only 2 years. Last year was my first year. This is my second year, so I don't know who did it before that. I just know Rob did it last year, and he's doing it this year. And I should just get started, huh? Let's just get right on this, because there's like 20 questions here, and I want to get through them in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. So, number one, he asks, what is your favorite record that you purchased in 2023? Very simple. Paul Williams, Someday Man. Let me get it away from... There we go. Paul Williams, Someday Man. Yeah, okay, now anybody who watches this channel, they're going, oh, come on. You already had that record. You've shown it before. That is true. I have had many copies of this, a few copies of this for a long, long time. I've never shown this copy before. I actually recently got this. And the reason why I bought this is because this is a white label promo. And it was really, really cheap. I got this for, it's a really nice copy, really clean vinyl. The cover's really nice, $15. Your standard copy of this, you can't get for $15 these days. Why this for $15? I don't know. It was one of those moments where you're like, okay, wait a minute, why is this $15? Went to the listening station, nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful copy, white label. I had actually been looking around on Discogs wanting to purchase a white label of this, and I was prepared to, like, you know, drop like $40 or something on one. Boom, good thing I didn't do it, because this one, ooh. And this is one of my favorite albums, so to now have a white label promo of it that I got for cheap, yeah, guess what? This is easily my favorite purchase of 2023. Okay, so number two, the last record you bought in 2023. Well, this record, I bought this the last week of 2023, in fact. Was it the day after, no, it was it was on the 30th, so it was just the day before New Year's Eve I bought this, so, like, the curtains were closing on 2023. I mean, I bought this as late in the year as you possibly could. And that is Country Joe and the Fish, the first album. This is a mono, in pretty good condition, but the reason why I bought this one is because it has shrink on it. So it's like a mono copy in shrink. This is definitely an upgrade from the mono copy of this album that I already had. So I just kind of felt compelled to buy it. Again, people who watch my channel, they know that I buy and I rebuy and I rebuy the same albums over and over again, because I always see, you know, there's always a newer, shinier, prettier copy that I just have to have. And yeah. But I really love this album. You know, I really love so much of the stuff on this. I don't really like a lot of Country Joe and the Fish's albums. Like, I really can't stand the Fish Cheer. 1, 2, 3, what do we find? I'm not into that at all. But this album, this is a great record. But anyway, yeah. So that's the last record I bought in 2023. Okay, so number 3, a band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. You know, as everybody who has been noting on their videos, there are a lot of artists who've done this, especially back in the 60s and 70s, and I've always been really, really thankful that back when music was so great was when artists were more prolific. Back when the most amazing, most classic records were coming out by the best artists, that's when records were coming out more often. Like nowadays, yeah, fine, I don't care. Take 5 years to put out a record, whatever. Who cares? But back in the day, we got great albums, oftentimes 2 a year from amazing artists. And in 1975, we got 2 incredible albums from Elton John. Yeah. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy and Rock of the Westies. Absolutely love these records so much. I go all the way back to 1975 with these. When I was a little kid, loved Elton John, and I remember when these albums were new. I've talked about it on other videos before. And when I saw this question, the first artist I thought of was Elton John, because I thought, Elton John, in the earlier 70s, I'm thinking, isn't there like a year, like maybe 70, 71, or even 72, where he put out like 5 albums? If you count things like Friends and, 11, 17, 70 and all that kind of stuff, if you count absolutely everything, I think there's one year there where he has at least 4 albums. But I decided to go with those 2 because those are closest to my heart, man. Okay, so number 4, excuse me while I scroll up. Number 4, if you could only listen to music from one decade... Take 2. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? Woo! That is tough. Because the real answer to that question, the real honest answer to that question is that it's a tie between the 60s and the 70s. But that is not how this game is played. I have to choose one. And so, oh God, it's so rough. But if I'm going to choose one, I guess it's going to have to be 70s. Oh, I know that's tough. See, the 70s, I think the reason why the 70s would have to eke out the 60s by just the slightest bit is because, one, I think the 70s is more diverse and covers a lot more ground. Like a lot of people who've chosen the 70s in their videos have pointed out, I mean, there's so much ground covered and so many genres that it's like the foreshadowing of many genres to come from future decades and everything. It's just like it's such a rich decade. But also the real thing that makes it kind of just eke over the top for me is that is the first 10 years of my life. I was born in December 69 and I was 10, or I turned 10 in 1979. So the first 10 years of my life, the first music-loving 10 years of my life was the 70s. So that will always have the fondest place in my heart. So yeah, it would have to be the 70s. But damn, I would be it without the Beatles, though, then. I don't know. Okay. All right. So, number 5. Show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. Well, now, before I show my record, I have to give a special shout-out to Marsha P. Because she did the best. She had the best answer to this, for me, personally, out of anybody. And I'm jealous as fuck because I didn't think of it first, and I can't do it now because she already did it. She chose the Monkees because of Davy Jones. Salute. But I am going to choose the Hollies. Yeah, the Hollies. I mean, I love the Monkees more. I'm just more of a Monkees fan, but the Hollies, oh man. The Hollies, what amazing records they had. I feel like they're a little stronger in the singles department, but they have some great album tracks as well. As Marsha also pointed out, some of which ended up as songs on the great Everly Brothers album, Two Yanks in England, which these guys played on. But easily one of my favorite bands, legitimately from Manchester, the Hollies. Okay. Number 6. Which band or singer did you listen to? No, that's not right. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Okay. Which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? Okay. Now, the real answer to this question is that it isn't actually an artist. There isn't a single artist that I can really think that kind of stands head and shoulders above the rest in terms of what I listen to. Because what I honestly listen to most... Take 2. Because what I honestly listen to most is radio air checks. Now, I've talked about them before, for those of you who watch my channel, but anybody who doesn't know, a lot of you do know, I'm sure, but for the uninitiated, a radio air check is a recording made off the radio, usually by the station itself, to kind of, they would make recordings off the radio just at random. The DJ wouldn't know when it was happening because they would send these recordings to the office or the powers that be so they could kind of check up on things, go, okay, how are things going? How these commercials sound? How is the DJ going? How are things working out? So there's that. And so all these recordings exist. And you have people like you or I growing up at the time, we would actually record things onto cassette off the radio, and a lot of people would just record an hour or two of the radio. All these recordings exist, and they're out there. You can go to YouTube or Mixcloud or whatever, but there's also a website called realradio.com that has a collection of a gazillion of them. And we're talking going way back, going to the 50s, even further. I mean, there's incredible stuff. I mean, and wherever you're from, whatever your local station was that you listened to when you were a kid, whatever DJ, chances are if you go there and do a search, you're going to find it. And it is absolutely incredible. The thing about Airchecks is that, everybody who likes old stuff, old retro things, who we all kind of want to be taken back to the past in some capacity. You put things on your wall, or you have, mid-century furniture or whatever. That only does so much. But when you listen to actual radio from the time, and I mean, I'm talking unedited, the full thing, the music, the DJ, the commercials, everything, unedited radio as it aired. When you're listening to that, the air changes in the room. You are there, okay? And radio air checks are just, whenever I just want to put on music and just relax and do something, I more often than not put on radio air checks. It's a very comforting thing for me to listen to. So that's really what I listen to more than anything else, more than particular albums, particular artists, and so there you go. Okay, so number 7. Oh, okay, I'm going to have to walk off screen for a second to go get this because I have it right over there. Number 7, show 7 7-inch records. One moment. All right, 7 7-inch records. All right, so I guess I don't have these in any particular order. The Nazz with Not Wrong Long. Yeah, let me put these down here. It's I guess it's a promo single, a white label. I don't even know if this single was ever actually. Some singles really kind of were just promo singles. They never really made it out onto the market. I'm not sure about this one. Anybody, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I love the Nazz. I'm a Todd Rundgren fan, but I really, really love the Nazz. And the Nazz album from '69, their second album, love that album. And man, Not Wrong Long with Under the Ice. Oh man, what amazing tracks those are. And a picture sleeve? Yes, please. And speaking of picture sleeves, my next one I'm going to show you is the Ramones with Do You Want to Dance? Yeah, for the longest time I had been wanting to get some Ramones picture sleeves, but they're really expensive. They're ridiculously expensive. And this is the only one I have, and I have this one because I actually found it for a decent price. So it's the only one I have, but there are quite a few that I'd really love to get. And so, Ramones. This next one is not going to seem like anything special at first, and it may not even seem like anything special even when I fully explain it, but whatever. The Youngbloods with Get Together. Come on, people now. Now, there are 2 different issues of this single. It came out originally in 1967, which is what this one is, and didn't really take. It didn't really become a big hit, and then it got reissued in '69, and that's the version that became a hit. Well, each issue of the single has a different B-side. The B-side of the '69 one was Beautiful from the Elephant Mountain album. This one has on the B-side All My Dreams Blue. Okay? I don't know if you can see it. All My Dreams Blue, which is a song that's on their second album, Earth Music, but it's an entirely different recording. I think this version, the version on this single, is 1,000 times better than the one on that album, and this is the only place you can get that. If you don't have this single, you don't have that track. As far as I know, it's not a bonus track on anything. It's not on a box set. It's not on any compilation or anything. I don't think I've ever seen it. Yeah, nowhere. Like, not streaming. I don't think there's even a YouTube video where somebody shows the record on a turntable. There's not even that. Like, you have to have this single to have this version of the song. And I absolutely love this version of this song. All My Dreams Blue, Youngbloods. All right, next up. This one is definitely one of those singles that's promo. Well, I don't know if it's a promo only, but this is a promo single. This is a promo copy of it. This is Larry Ramus from The Association. Yeah, the great Larry Ramus. Yeah, this is he was in the New Christy Minstrels, and then he was in The Association, but in between that, he kind of made a play for solo stardom. And this is on Columbia, and this is a track called It's Gonna Take a Little Time. And it's a great, great track. It's actually on the Association double disc anthology CD, but this is, of course, a white label disc or single, and it's one of those Columbia promos that has a picture sleeve on the front, or a picture on the front. I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's one of those Columbia singles that has a picture sleeve with a picture on the front and a little bit of like a promo blurb on the back. All right, and I bought this because I'm a big Association fan. I love Larry Ramis, and I love this song. So, yeah. Next up, I think this is 7. Am I going over 7? I think it's 7. Okay. Next up is another promo Columbia single. This one is by Laura Nyro. Yeah, Laura Nyro. This is her Sweet Blindness, or her Eli's Coming and Sweet Blindness single. See, we have that. And just like the Larry Ramis, you have the photo on the front and the promo blurb on the back. And this is a record that I was after for so long. It's pretty tough to get, and it tends to be really expensive. Finally, at some point, I lucked out, and I found one at a price I would pay, and I'm so happy to have it. Now, this record is very rare and very expensive, and I paid some money for it. This is the earliest indie single from 1979 of Twisted Sister. Yes, they recorded, this is I'll Never Grow Up Now. They did some tracks with Eddie Kramer producing and put out a couple of totally independent singles on their own, Twisted Sister Records, imaginatively titled, imaginatively named, but this is the first of the two. And yeah, this is really, really tough to get. This one has even a little jukebox label and, a picture of the band back there. I think it has lyrics, and it has Under the Blade on the second side, a different version from the album. Yeah, this is a really, 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 really rare album, a rare single to find. Now, this cover is super lame, right? It's a really lame cover. The story goes, I guess, I read Dee Snider's book, that when they were doing the single, they decided they wanted to have the cover designed by pros or whatever. They paid some ad agency or some design agency a bunch of money to design a cover for them, and this is what they came up with. And the band hated it. They thought this is so fucking lame, but they had spent all the money on it, so they just went and they just used it. But they always thought it was super lame, and yeah, and they're right. It's pretty lame, but what are you gonna do? And my last single is a great current artist, just a current artist that I absolutely love, who's very, very due for a brand new album. His last album was in 2019, and I absolutely love it. This is a standalone single that's not on one of his albums. That's from 2014, I think. Well, anyway, Michael Kiwanuka. Yeah, Michael Kiwanuka, a great Bill Withers-ish sort of R&B soul artist, and this is You've Got Nothing to Lose. Yeah, really, really great track, a great single, and if you haven't checked him out, if you like that kind of more of an acoustic-y soul kind of vibe, again, in the Bill Withers sort of vein, check this guy out. Great stuff. Okay, so next up we have number 8, which is Who's Coming to Your Party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite? Well, I really thought about this. I thought, because other people's videos I've watched, they've had some really interesting and pretty clever combinations of people that in most cases I'm like, yeah, I want to go to that party. And I thought, well, what would I do? And then it hit me. I realized, you know what? I know exactly what I would do. I would go with the Hollywood Vampires. 4 people from the Hollywood Vampires. You know who I'm talking about. John Lennon, Alice Cooper, Mickey Dolenz, and Harry Nilsson. There are other Hollywood Vampires, technically, I guess, but those 4, John Lennon, Alice Cooper, Mickey Dolenz, and Harry Nilsson. Could you just imagine the 4 of those guys? I would just, I wouldn't even talk. I would sit back. I would sit back with my phone and just shoot the whole damn thing and put it up on YouTube. That's what would happen. But yeah, how amazing would that be? So go to number 9 now. We lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. Now, I actually don't have a record here. I have okay. Rob himself chose the same artist, and I had already, when I saw this, I already kind of had him in mind because he's really kind of the one that hit me the hardest this year, the one that kind of, that I'm most beloved by me, and that is David Crosby. And I would love to hold up a copy of If I Could Only Remember My Name, but my copy is not here in the world famous As It Should Be Studios. It's in the world famous As It Should Be archives. Okay, so we'll say it's right there. Pop up. Yeah. All right. David Crosby. Love David Crosby. We all kind of knew he was going to go sooner than later. I think people have been expecting him to go since 1979 or earlier, and himself included. But when it finally happened, though, it was still like, oh, fuck, because he'd come so far, and he was making, very, 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 he'd become very prolific. He was making a lot of albums. I think he knew his time was short, so he was like, I'm doing the work, and yeah, I see he made a lot of really good albums towards the end of his life, and it just, yeah, like I said, that's the one that hit me the hardest. When this first popped up, I thought, oh, Christina McVie, but then I was like, oh no, that's 2022. 2022 and 2023 kind of felt like one year to me. So, yeah. And I actually did an R.I.P. David Crosby sort of tribute video when he died. So go down, into my channel and dig in there. It's down there if you haven't seen it. And I talk a lot more about Crosby and my feelings on the whole thing, and what he meant to me personally. And I do actually a ranking of my favorite David Crosby songs and that. So yeah, if you want to know more on the subject of my feelings about Crosby and my tribute to when he died, there's a video for it. Okay, so number 10, imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Which country would you choose? Well, that's actually pretty easy. That is pretty easy. England. Yeah, come on. So, with the question of, and I think somebody else did this on their video too, with the question of which decade, I would go 70s, but with this, I go England because that really covers the 60s, doesn't it? Oh, man. A lot of later stuff too, but I mean, the 60s, you have the Beatles, obviously, and the Stones, and the Kinks, and the Who, and the Zombies, and it's just, the list goes on and on and on. It's not even a contest for me personally. I mean, there's a lot of really great American music from back in the day, but it takes an absolute backseat for me to all the British stuff that was coming out from that decade. So yeah, it's not a contest for me personally. England. Okay. Number 11. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. Okay, I have 3 here. I have 6-Inch Pianist 319. I only pretty recently discovered that one. A British guy, in fact. He's a dude from England, right? And yeah, I like his stuff. And there is the Vinyl Den, which I think has been around a bit of a while. And also Chris Profi, Musically Obsessed. Now, you're thinking, really? You only just discovered that? Well, I will admit that, yeah, I have been seeing his videos popping up in the algorithms for quite a while now, but it took me, I think, till this year to finally go, oh, maybe I should click on one of these. Yeah, so I've been watching his stuff lately, and yeah, so there you go. That's the 3 that I discovered this year. And let's go to number 12, which is, if I can see it, show a record you bought when you were a teenager. Okay? That would be from 1987, Sign of the Times by Prince. I bought this the day it came out, and this is actually the copy that I bought that day. So this is literally an album that I purchased when I was a teenager. This is the actual record I purchased when I was 17. And yeah, there you go. Prince Sign of the Times, a Stone classic. Alright, so now number 13, show a funk or soul record. I just did, I believe, right? Did I not? Oh well. I'll go along with the gag. Young, Gifted, and Black by Aretha Franklin. Yeah, her 1972 album. This is easily one of my favorite Aretha albums, and it contains two of my very favorite Aretha hits. And that is Daydreaming and... Daydreaming and Rocksteady, both of which were actually written by Aretha herself, so good on her for having two big hits that she wrote, that she got publishing for, I hope. And this is easily... This and Let Me In Your Life are my two favorite 70s Aretha albums. Great album. If you haven't really dug into some good Aretha in the 70s, go for this one. Okay. Number 14, show a record you think everyone has, then show a record you think nobody has. Well, by the very nature of this question, people are really showing records that really everybody has, and there's kind of really no way to do this and not just have it be typical, because everybody has the damn record. In fact, somebody's video that I watched, I think Robert Fithin probably showed this record. Probably 50 people have showed this record. Well, I'm going to show it too because everybody has it. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. If you exist, you have this record. That's a simple fact of life, isn't it? And yeah, but what a deserving album it is. There's certain albums where you're like, really? Why is this? Why? This album, you don't... No. It's perfectly obvious why. This is an absolutely amazing record. I love it. No matter how much I hear this stuff, I don't get sick of it. And yeah, it's a classic upon classics. And as for a record that nobody has, well, when I thought about this record immediately came to mind because nobody has it. I mean, really, nobody has it. Poser by me. Paul Bertolino, Poser. Me. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me explain. I know that seems a bit self-promoting and self-serving to show my own record on this, but really, honestly, the reason why I'm showing this is because I thought I have no better example of a record that nobody else has. Now, it's not because... It's not like, I put this out and nobody bought it, it failed, and so nobody has it. No, I mean, literally, nobody has it. This is the only copy that exists of this album. Yeah, it's but it's a legit record. It was a website that I was having CDs printed through. Kunaki, I think? Was it Kunaki? It's been a while. And they had a vinyl option, and where you didn't have to get like a minimum of 500 or 1,000 or whatever to get them run on vinyl. You could just do a one-off, so I just had them print a one-off of my album, and I don't remember how much I had to pay. It was about the retail price of a standard album nowadays. But I thought, for the novelty of having my album on vinyl, yeah. So I ordered it, and it came in the mail, and I opened it up, and it's like, holy shit, it's really my album on vinyl. It doesn't sound very good. It actually sounds kind of crappy, and I don't know if it's because the album was mastered for CD, or if it's just that the quality of their pressing is just really bad. It doesn't matter. I have an album of mine on vinyl, and none of you do. Nobody else does. Literally nobody else in the world has this album. So there you go. All right, so what do we have? 15. She's Great, a record by a female artist that you bought in 2023. Well, that would be... It's actually a 2019 album, but I didn't get to 2023. And that is Wise Blood, Titanic Rising. Yeah. This is, this is a great... current artist. She's been doing albums for, she's been making records for like 10 years now, but for me, that's that's brand new to me. But this album came out in 2019, and I discovered this. I don't remember where I discovered it. Somewhere online. Maybe somebody mentioned it. Maybe the Taste Like Music guys mentioned it. Somebody mentioned it, and I thought, oh, I should go check that record out. And I liked it. And I was just listening to it online until basically what happened is her follow-up album came out, and I bought that new, and I bought that at the end of when did it come out? 2022 maybe. I bought that, and that was the first album of hers that I actually purchased. And then a little bit later, like maybe a month or two later, in 2023, I finally got around to purchasing a proper vinyl copy of this. Really great kind of atmospheric, dreamy, just great, beautiful songs. She's a great vocalist. She has a really nice deep Karen Carpenter type voice. It's a really pleasing, warm bath kind of sounding voice, and she writes great songs. And yeah, I think this is a great album. Okay, what do we have next? Number 16. Your favorite video that you posted on your channel in 2023, and your favorite VC video that you watched in 2023 from somebody else's channel. Well, my favorite video of mine from 2023, or from my channel, is, well, okay, now for the uninitiated, there's some people maybe watching this video who don't know my channel, who haven't watched any of my other videos. I have a series going on my channel called Albums of the Year. And I have my friends Crystal Durant and Tommy Von Voigt, and they come in, and every week we do a different year where we talk about our top 10 favorite albums of that year, and we're going chronologically. Currently, we're at the end of the 90s, but we started in the 50s, and we're going up, and we're going all the way. Well, my favorite video that I put up on my channel at all this past year was our 1987 Albums of the Year. Not because it's 87. 87 is a terrible year as far as I'm concerned, but that is easily our favorite or our best video as far as I'm concerned. I don't think we could possibly top it. It's just anybody who watches those videos and knows, the running gags and different things about our personalities would understand why that video is so good, at least in my opinion. I don't think I can really explain it, but basically what it is that Tommy turn things on its ear, and it just hilarity ensues, and it's just lots of fun. I don't want to go into great detail about the video because it's just long-winded stuff that people who don't know my channel, who haven't watched the videos, are just going to be like. But basically, our Albums of the Year 1987 is easily my favorite video from my channel over this past year. Now, my favorite video that I watched from somebody else's channel this year, Robert Fithen. Sorry, Marcia, I didn't steal the monkeys from you, but I'm stealing this one from you. I didn't steal it from you. I just basically, I concur. I agree. This is my favorite as well. Robert Fithen did a video called At Home with the Vinyl Community, where he basically, I don't know if he had a green screen. He somehow green screened himself into the sets of all these other people who have channels, and it was so well done. It was so, it was so funny and clever. His videos generally are funny and clever. And he even set himself into this setting right here amongst so many others. And it was just such a well-done video. And to be honest, I still don't know how he did it. I kind of asked him, and he didn't tell me. But that's okay. That's okay, Robert. You don't have to tell me. There was a time when I didn't know what Kiss looked like without makeup. And I kind of wish I could go back to that time. The mystery. The mystery makes it so much sweeter, doesn't it? But yeah, that's probably my favorite video by somebody else from 2023. Okay, so number 18. Oh, no. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up here. Number 17 is what we're doing. Show me a record you would describe as a 90s classic. Well, Matthew Sweet, Girlfriend from 1991. Oh, man. This is probably my favorite album of the entire 90s, I think. And, this is, okay. I do have a vinyl copy of this record. It's not an original 91 pressing. It is actually is it 2018? It's a more recent reissue. This actually is a promo slick from that I actually got in '91 that I have slipped into a Judas Priest British Steel album, and I put it in here to try and pass it off as a real copy. So that's just between you and me. Don't tell anybody, all right? But yeah, Matthew Sweet, Girlfriend. This is, yeah, probably my favorite album in the 90s. Okay. Number 18. If I could walk into the cover, look through your collection and choose a record cover you'd like to be a part of. Well, that is easy. If there's any cover I would want to walk into, Abbey Road. You fucking kidding me? Yeah. My first thought was like, well, any Beatles album cover because I want to hang out with the Beatles. And, well, this is definitely the one I would choose because maybe they wouldn't be as good of a hang at this point because they were kind of getting to the point where they were sick of each other and, you know, they were ready to, you know, go their separate ways. So maybe on a social level, coming in here with them wouldn't be as great as maybe going in on Rubber Soul or something. But I would definitely like to step in and walk across the street with the Beatles. Yeah. That's I mean, I've been looking at this cover, staring at it since I was 3-4 years old, always wishing that I could walk across that road. And so if I could walk in to this album cover and walk across that road on that August day in 1969, I absolutely would. Oh my God, would I? I'm sure I'm not alone with that. Okay. Now, it's like a greatest hits. Show a record that you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits. Well, this is also an album that somebody else showed. Was it Richard from Calvin Wazoo who showed this one? Yeah, he beat me to the punch on this one, but even though he did, this is definitely my answer because this is one of the ultimate examples of this for me personally. Yeah. Who's next? I mean, really. I think there are 3 songs on this. Love Ain't For Keeping, My Wife, and Song Is Over. Maybe not even Song Is Over. That I haven't heard on the radio. Come to think of it, I think I've even heard Song Is Over, possibly. Yeah, I mean, this really, almost every song on this album you've heard on the radio. They're not all singles, but they've all played on the radio. But even besides that, even regardless of the radio, just for me, this is the greatest hits by far. I mean, this is on Led Zeppelin 4 level in that regard. Led Zeppelin 4 is another one of those albums like that, where it's like, yeah, I mean, this is basically a greatest hits album. Yeah. Yeah, but who's next? The Who. Okay, the final question. Number 20. Show me an album that was released in 1974. That is Nightlife by Thin Lizzy. Yeah, this is their 1974 album, and this is when they're finally starting to get into their... Well, they kind of started hitting on their more aggressive rock sound on the previous album, Vagabonds of the Western World. This one, there's a bit of that. Well, it's still kind of mixed up. There's a little bit of that, but there's also there's almost some kind of like almost soul R&B kind of vibes on this record as well. They're mixing it up. They haven't hit on the doing just the rock thing yet. They're still kind of mixing it up on the albums. This is the last one of that kind. Their next album, Fighting, is where they really hit on it as like the style that they do, that they don't mix it up, that this is what they do now. But so I feel like this is a very, very transitional kind of Thin Lizzy album, and I love the cover. I absolutely just love the cover of this album, and I love the great picture of them on the back. This is just, yeah, great album from a great band. All right, so there you go. That is my submission for the 2024 Vinyl Tag. Hopefully you guys are still clicking on those videos. Hopefully I'm not too late. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. And everybody, thank you. If you already are subscribers, I thank you. But if you haven't, you might want to consider subscribing. And if you do, click the little bell because notifications. And most importantly, maybe come back later on this week on Thursday because Crystal Durant and Tommy Von Voigt are going to be back. And we are going to be discussing our favorite albums of 1997. Okay, so you don't want to miss that. I will see you soon.